We've got a great deal to get to today here. Stugotz is very excited because he says Skip Bayless has sent out the tweet, Lakers equal fakers.
He's still at it, man.
He is still going, 70 years old strong. Stephen A. Smith is going to have to settle for Mad Dog Russo Wednesdays on First Take because he couldn't lure Lakers equals fakers away from Fox. Stugotz also was making eyes roll in the shipping container because he was telling Jessica, we're going to Canton.
Oh, yes.
And Billy was like, you're not going anywhere, Jessica. Yeah, he's making you promises that will never be kept.
I am going to Canton. Everyone is welcome to join me. My friend Tony Baselli has finally made it to his rightful place, thanks to me, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Thanks to you.
And I will be there.
John.
I did a lot of work with Tony to help him out here. Yeah.
Thank you, Stu.
Yep.
Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Stu.
I have failed in my quest to get Zach Thomas into the Hall of Fame. Please go look at his numbers compared to Brian Urlacher's. They're the same. I thought if all things being equal and they're both white guys, they're both going to get in as celebrated middle linebacker. But Zach Thomas continues to be held out, even though Brian Urlacher is in.
Want me to help you out? New campaign?
Please.
I got Tony in. I'll get Zach in.
Please get in. You've put a phone call into Tony that hasn't been returned yet.
No.
He is so grateful for all of your help.
Yeah.
Are you ready? We're hoping to get Tony Baselli to celebrate with the big man. We don't know if we will or not, but we are endeavoring. Do you have the stat of the day music ready? Play My Father Singing Merrily, please.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Stat of the day brought to you by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Courtesy of @Paul Hembo. Hembo on Twitter. Jim Rice walked 670 times in his 16-year career. Yogi Berra walked 704 times in his 19-year career. Vlad Guerrero walked 737 times in his 16-year career. Barry Bonds walked 755 times from 2001 to 2004.
Yes, he got on base a lot. He got on base half the time in a failure game, and
Crazy.
He's not in the Hall of Fame. Only Ted Williams has done that. Just basically get on base half the time.
I should push for Barry to get in. I mean,
you should. I
got to be honest. Once you start rattling off successive numbers in the thousands, I just kind of tune out.
Too many numbers.
Yeah,
Too many numbers to that.
Mike, Yogi
I'm
Berra.
happy for you or sad that happened, but I ain't reading all that.
Mike, Yogi Berra, 19 years, 704 times he was walked. In 4 seasons, Bonds was walked 755 times.
Okay, combining numbers and baseball.
Okay.
Radio Row, Super Bowl week.
Always get into trouble when we allow Stugotz to pick the stats of the day.
That's a great stat, man. I'm sorry. I mean,
It's February. Why are we reading baseball stats in February?
I mean, P's and C's.
Oh, okay.
You know what else happened yesterday? I don't know if Stugotz knows this. Very quietly, as Ben Simmons and James Harden get traded for each other, and Adrian Peterson walks around selling a supplement that he's been taking for 2.5 weeks at the Super Bowl. Stugotz, do you know that they just basically made the designated hitter for both leagues whenever they start playing baseball again yesterday?
What?
For real?
Yeah.
Really?
Something that's been argued about for damn near a century. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because the designated hitter was
73.
in the 70s. Yeah. But still, quietly, it died yesterday. The designated hitter died, or not the designated hitter, the pitcher batting died yesterday. If there is indeed baseball, the commissioner of the league has announced pitchers will no longer bat. They should never have been batting. And now you don't need managers at all.
Has anyone checked on
That's the last move they had to make.
The
You're
double
right. Yes.
switch in the National League was the last thing they had to do that couldn't be done by robots and computers.
Has anyone checked on Howard Bryant? I feel like Howard Bryant's childhood died today.
It's been argued about for so long. How is it something that just breaks on a Thursday during Super Bowl week and everybody's like, whatever?
That's when you do it. That's when you do it.
But why would you do it?
In the middle of a lockout, by the way, also. That's my favorite
Yeah, but
part.
no one's talking about it during Super Bowl. I mean, we are right now.
That's why you do it, Stugotz.
But that's something that celebrates.
No, you do it because you know all these purists are going to want to complain and whine. Like, oh my God, it's not the baseball I grew up with. But here's what's going to happen. They change the rule, and guess what? No one's going to notice. Even when they start playing baseball again in October.
That's not true.
No one's going to notice. I promise.
No, that's just so wrong.
Nobody's going to notice. I promise. But I give you my word.
We tried calling Howard, but he's still trying to get out of bed without any hamstrings.
Wait, are you saying when they start playing baseball, no one will notice the DH rule change?
He's saying that baseball people who care about this deeply won't notice that all of a sudden the pitcher's not batting.
I'm sorry. You guys misunderstood. I meant no one's going to notice when baseball comes back.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah, that's probably closer to fair.
What's going on with your finger on your ear right now, Dan?
Well, it's the hat. I'm wearing this costume as Indiana Jones, and I'm having trouble with the
Is
headset.
that a Hamburg?
It is.
It's my character, not Indiana Jones.
Fedora? Milady.
Stepped on his
that
joke.
deserved a laugh. I mean,
Indiana scones.
Hey.
Indiana scones in the Temple
Indiana
of Food.
you beat us to it, yeah.
You know, I saw you today. I'm like, I felt bad how yesterday went. I'm just not going to do it. I didn't even have my brain. I'm just like, shut off the make fun of Dan thing. But apparently the internet's caught up.
Indiana scones and the last croissant.
What is
Raiders of the Lost Fridge.
Raiders of the Lost Pork?
Yeah, there you
I
go.
thought the Lost Fridge.
Fridge.
Raiders of the Lost Fridge.
It totally ruined your first good joke.
I thought the internet missed yesterday. I didn't see anybody calling me as the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. I thought that might have been something that I would have gotten slapped across the face with.
My jokes are bad, they say.
Oh, really?
Thank you.
Okay, so while Joaquin Phoenix doesn't work, I thought it did work. A happy 72nd birthday to Dr. J.
Oh, wow.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
I want to play for the audience something that Juju put on our Twitter account a couple of days ago that, to me, I wish that the people doing these interviews on behalf of these products from Sad Radio Row, brought to you by Naked Corporate Greed and Marketing. What are you laughing about there, Billy?
We were just talking about the DH and you saying no one noticed and no one cared. The LA crew, I don't know if they're there ready to go, saw outside of Dodger Stadium one man holding a sign that said "Save the DH" that seemed to be taped to a broomstick by himself, screaming outside of Dodger Stadium.
It was actually exactly the opposite, Billy. It was one guy who was holding a sign that said "Death to the DH." He was a National League purist, and it was one guy,
that guy.
and he just stood outside of the Dodger Stadium sign holding the sign. No one is recognizing him except us. We went, "Hey!" He's like, "F the DH," and then we went on with our way.
I think that Chris Cody should go over there and stand next to him protesting the complete opposite.
I'm surprised it wasn't your dad.
His protest really fell apart, though, Billy, with you when you got his exact messaging wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you got the opposite messaging from
I'm
his
with
protest.
him too, which is why not a good spokesman.
I want to go to the Radio Row crew and get an update on all things that they've been doing, because I'm sure there's a whole lot of stuff to get to. But before that, I want to undermine everything they're doing with a general lack of enthusiasm that all of these people should have by the end of the week, tired of selling their products. Alshon Jeffrey, I'd never seen this before because this is something Juju put on our Twitter account. It's the most honest Super Bowl interview I have ever heard. He's bored sitting at a banquet table, and listen to this back and forth with the former Eagles receiver.
We were talking to Lane earlier, and he said that he and the team and everybody's trying to keep this as normal of a week as possible, but this is anything but normal. How much fun is this, and how much are you enjoying this experience so far?
Honestly, I think this is terrible doing all this. I think that we could have stayed in Philly. Man, come on Friday or Saturday.
Then you wouldn't get to see Timberlake and all the other celebrities here. It's part of the experience, right?
He a normal person. He bleed just like I bleed. He go through feelings just like I. So, I mean, he's a celebrity to you. I mean, hats off to him. I listen to his music. I mean, he a great guy. I mean, great artist. But I'm here to play football. I care less about all that other.
Did you see the temperature for game day on Sunday?
We playing indoors.
If you were outside, though, how would that affect it?
I don't think the Super Bowl will be in the winter. I mean, we'll be here.
Makes sense.
Poor guy.
I don't think the Super Bowl will be here.
That is courtesy of KOAA5. KOAA5. Why are you, which part are you wincing at, Jessica? I just love, he had to rally with something once he got caught with the stupidity of, we're playing indoors.
It's just, it all makes me sad. Like, awkward interviews make me sad. I've been that reporter on Radio Row, spending my afternoons just asking the same questions over. How do you like Miami? The weather's pretty nice, huh? I don't know what else to ask you because we only have 5 minutes to talk. It's not really a lot of time to get a good in-depth interview.
What if they played outside?
He didn't have anything else. I thought it was pretty quick thinking under the circumstances.
It's just he didn't have a follow.
What if they did play outside?
What a terrible thing to learn, that the weather's not going to impact the game because Alshon has just told you that they're playing indoors.
But what if they did?
I mean, you know,
what if it was
you gotta have a
it was
follow.
great. I want to hear it again.
Play it just one more time because we want to sink into the depths of the awkward. Look, Jessica doesn't want to do it. She thinks it's cruel.
We were talking to Lane earlier, and he said that he and the team and everybody's trying to keep this as normal of a week as possible, but this is anything but normal. How much fun is this, and how much are you enjoying this experience so far?
Honestly, I think this is terrible doing all this. I think that we could have stayed in Philly and come on Friday or Saturday.
Then you wouldn't get to see Timberlake and all the other celebrities here. It's part of the experience, right?
He a normal person. He bleed just like I bleed. He go through feelings just like I. So, I mean, he's a celebrity to you. I mean, hats off to him. I listen to his music. I mean, he a great guy. I mean, great artist. But I'm here to play football. I care less about all that other.
Did you see the temperature for game day on Sunday?
We playing indoors.
If you were outside, though, how would that affect it?
I don't think the Super Bowl will be in the winter. I mean, we'll be here.
He tried, man.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
New York, right? I don't think the Super Bowl will be here.
Makes sense.
That makes
What
sense
an
is the best bit. Because that is a defeated interviewer. He tried. He had nothing left.
Tried. You asked him about the temperature.
I mean, honestly, to think on your feet and come up with, well, what if it were outdoors? I think I would have retreated then.
This was the Minneapolis Super Bowl. So, this interview was in Mall of America, which was like one of the most depressing places to host media for any Super Bowl. And B, he corrects himself when he says Justin Timberlake's a great guy. I mean great artist.
He was ahead of the Britney Timberlake stuff by years. Alshon Jeffrey.
He really did correct himself. Look, I don't want to be out there with the great guy situation. I'll just go entertainer, performer.
Ended up being a good interview. We got that out of it.
Let's no, it did not end up being a good interview.
But what if it was?
I want to ask Whittingham and Chris Cody a lot of different questions about their experiences, but I got to start with Micah Hot Whistle Parsons and what the toilet experience was for Chris Cody yesterday after being the first ever Pizza Hut Spice Challenge. Were you a winner? I don't even know. You ate a lot of spice?
I ate a lot of spice. I was feeling good about an hour after the interview. I was like, I think I beat this. And then it hit me. And I had to basically jog to the bathroom here in the convention center. And I was doing my work. I was having a nice time. I was like, no one's noticing me. I'm getting done with this. And then all of a sudden I hear someone walk in and go, oh.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, is that for me? And I just got really insecure, and then I wiped and got out of there very quickly. Well, I waited till that person left, because you never walk out when somebody else is in the bathroom. So you wait till everyone clears out. And then
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How do you judge that? You duck under, look at feet?
But it flowed like wine. Like, it was not a hard, it was a very easy experience.
At
if I'm painting a
LeBatard
picture
Show.
vividly enough for you.
Thank you.
At LeBatard Show, Guillermo, when pooping in a public bathroom, do you wait it out until everyone's left before emerging from the stall? Did you have a hot whistle situation though, or did it come out?
Yeah, it was flowing too nicely to make any noise. It was just
the silence.
All you heard was the toilet water.
Like out of a decanter.
Enough. How is this
That's
good
right.
advertising for Pizza Hut?
Oh, it was honestly delicious. I'm just not a spicy guy.
On the way out?
Thank you, Billy. You've been great today. Why don't you ask
Pizza's
Hildy how it
actually
was
still
on the
here.
way out?
There's actually still pizza here.
I dare you to eat it. Go ahead. That's what Radio Row is all about. Do it.
Oh my God.
Tony is saying that since the cheese is so processed that it actually won't mold and that I could actually eat this.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tony also said you can steal ducks. So
Because they're free.
He's been telling everyone in LA that you can steal ducks.
All right, what do you guys have for me? Celebrity sightings. There was a Peter King story. Give me
Peter King
there was
story?
Celebrity sightings.
Start with the Peter King story.
Well, last night Jorge Sedano, I want to say he took us out to dinner, but he made us travel 2 hours to have this dinner with him. So it's like as if we were in Miami and we had Sedano drive all the way up to West Palm Beach to have dinner with us.
I was trying to imagine that exchange. Hey, George, now that you're back in Miami, you want to come up to West Palm and have dinner? Like, he would tell me to go bleep myself 12 times over.
You think maybe he would come to us. But either that's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there.
We end up in Manhattan Beach, which was holy shit gorgeous. Having dinner with Sedano. So we're walking up to the restaurant. Who do we pass by? Oh, Peter King. And do we say anything? Of course we do. Chris walks by, goes, PK. And he just gave me a little, how's it going? And we kept walking. That was the Peter King story. And then we got to the dinner, and we saw Dan Graziano. It was a who's who.
Peter King was in the restaurant as well, and it was like the ultimate endorsement for us. Like, if Peter King can dine here, it's good enough for me.
But Dan, I buried the lead. Then afterwards.
Hold on, please. Hold on. Billy, Skeptical
I'm
Billy's
confused.
making an appearance.
When you say Chris, were you referring to yourself or the other Chris? Because there's two of you.
No, he absolutely referred to himself in the third person.
Because Whittingham would never do that, right?
Okay.
The PK was a giveaway.
I'm proud of you,
The
Chris.
Peter King story was really underwhelming.
You just saw Peter King?
Yeah, you saw PK.
That's it?
Yeah.
Not only did we see him, I gave him a little PK as I walked by.
Right. What a great story. I mean,
It was.
But Chris is right. It was the undercard.
Oh.
Because we did go to a bar after dinner.
Oh, it's a who's who. I mean, all right, I'm going to start with we saw PFT. Then we saw Ryan Russillo. Mm-hmm. Ready for this, Dan?
I mean, you're just at media
So
parties.
embarrassing.
Like, what?
No.
This
This
is
was a
hang
random
on,
bar.
hang on.
This was a random bar in Manhattan.
You saw
Beach.
It's like
podcasters at a
an
bar.
hour away from Radio
You're
Row.
gonna
Could
like-
not be geographically further from
You're
the
going to
Super
like
Bowl.
this third one, Dano.
what do you got?
Third person we saw, Clay Travis.
Ooh.
Wow.
Did the music stop and everyone just kind of made sides as you guys stared at him across the way?
There were sides,
record scratch.
and it was exactly what you would have expected.
Why don't we send you guys there?
Seemed worth it. I mean, yeah.
Let me
supposed to be
guess.
impressed?
You probably went up to him and were like, "Hey, I'm a big fan."
No one's having a lamer Super
Did
Bowl
you not hear the
experience than
PK
you guys.
story?
Yeah, and they,
Graziano?
yeah,
I
they
mean,
ran into
Lame?
Dan
they saw
Graziano.
journalists.
David Spade one night,
Yep.
Diane Graziano the
Boom.
next night. I mean,
Yep.
jeez.
mm-hmm.
PK.
Yeah.
He's coming on the show on Monday, I think, after the Super Bowl.
PK?
So maybe we can
Oh,
formally
yes.
introduce
I
you
cannot-
guys.
Nice.
Chris
We have
and
to ask him
Chris,
about
I
this.
wish you guys could have seen the look on Dan's face as he started to do the math of how much money we spent to send people out to LA for the week to come back and tell us we saw Dan Graziano at a bar with Ryan Russillo.
And PK.
And PK.
Russillo might have bought us a drink, too. Nice guy, Russillo.
And Clay.
We saved some money on that one.
That is the look you saw on my face. Was me
you,
thinking
Sheets
like
and
they're going to
Giggles, by the
send a
way.
bunch of receipts.
Sheets and
They're
Giggles,
going to
shouts to
send
them.
our CFO a bunch of receipts. And what's the explanation going to be for why you guys spent hundreds of dollars? We saw PK.
It seems like Sedano picked up the tab, though, right? I mean,
No, he didn't,
Oh,
actually. We
it's
did
unfortunate.
split skis.
What?
Oh,
You guys
wow.
went halfsies?
you drove?
Four-way.
Yeah, we went Dutch on dinner.
Thank
Well,
you to Sheets and
Meadowlark
Giggles
picked
for
up
getting
the
me out here,
tab.
by the way.
Yeah.
So.
Can you guys, in spending a concentrated amount of time with each other, you guys are very much the odd couple.
Yeah,
which
Woody's
is what,
annoying as shit.
And so it comes out.
And we're like becoming each other. I'm calling people chaps now. He's combining words. It's really weird. Like I've
Learned
spent
that
too
in
much
Miami.
time with him. He drives really slow. He sings in the car too much. He's a fast eater. He's always done like 10 minutes before all of us. It's just, I mean, I love him.
Slow driver.
Love the guy, though. I mean, he got off at the wrong exit yesterday. He turned an hour trip into an hour and a half
trip. I did that
trip.
twice yesterday, yeah.
I mean, geez. And then he blames me for telling a riveting story, like the PK one. It's just, I mean, I'm over it. You know, after your travel was, at the beginning of the trip, I was like, God, I love these guys. Now I'm like, get Whitty away from me.
Even after going to get those Fat Sal giant sandwiches?
Oh, Fals. Oh, my God.
Okay, so there's this restaurant. Sedano recommended us this lunch place, and the menu is absurd. It's sandwiches.
It's
with,
the best shit you've ever had.
It was
everything you'd want on a sandwich in one thing.
Except sandwiches had like mozzarella sticks in them.
A good thing.
I was like, I can't eat a sandwich
French
with a
fries,
mozzarella stick in it.
Some ribeye steak, egg.
Every sandwich is like 15 things. And I'm looking at this like, I can't eat anything from here. And so I asked at this place, it's called Fat Sal's, all these incredible menu items. I asked for an Impossible Burger.
With no cheese and no pickles.
Billy, why is your head in
What
your
a
hands?
colossal waste of money.
Yeah, I'm realizing that. I'm realizing that as
Graziano, though.
Are we not allowed to have lunch, Billy?
I love that Chris Cody with an expense account is like, you know what? I could get them separate, but why not just throw it all in a sandwich? Let me just get all of it.
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We saved money on that. That was probably like $70 worth of food and a $15 sandwich.
Why did Sedano not pay for you when he made you drive so far?
We got a drink with him before, and he did pick up that.
He got the drinks.
So,
got the drinks, but dinner was Dutch.
We wanted to, like, we were like basically beforehand, like, you're not buying us dinner. Like, you paid for these drinks, we're splitting dinner, and he was like, fine.
But also, you guys are showing your very, very non-Los Angeles kind of sensitive ways. LA, everything is a 2-hour drive. That's just how it is, especially with the Super Bowl. There's going to be traffic everywhere. So you guys...
And Sedano knew that, too.
Of course.
Right,
of course.
Smart,
but, but it's like, what are you going to do? They're at the convention center, right? Is that where the where Radio Row is? Yeah, and that's downtown LA. Manhattan Beach is by the beach. So you're going to have to travel the 10 across LA, and there's going to be traffic. So you guys just have to deal with it and stop whining and complaining like some out-of-towners.
LA bona fides.
That's fair.
Bona fides.
Let's talk about, I'm watching on the television over your shoulder here because people love the disintegration of this mutated super team in Brooklyn, and it's got a lot of great elements in it. Some of the reporting on this, Stugotz, I don't know if you've seen much of it, but James Harden shaking his head at Kyrie Irving, trying to sage, was it the Cleveland visiting locker room or someplace in Cleveland? He was trying to sage it, and that wasn't Harden's thing on Twitter. I don't know how real this is because I'm perpetually fooled by Ballsack and Barry McCockiner, but it is said, it has been reported by someone alleging to be a exotic dancer that Harden had told her during a lap dance that he was about to become a 76er. And now he becomes a 76er. And I want to talk about a variety of things here with Amin. You can find on YouTube some of the things that Amin did with Tom Haberstroh, Kate, and Renee Montgomery yesterday if you want a deep dive on some of this stuff. But Joel Embiid gets doubled more than anybody in the league. Like these numbers are kept. How is James Harden about to change them offensively, given that both of them need the usage rate, but it's got to help some to be able to get the double teams off of Joel? No,
absolutely. You cannot zero in your defense on Joel like you used to. And not only that, you also have the ability of Harden with the ball in his hands to make life easier for Joel. He's a great playmaker. Think about, like, in Houston, how many times we saw Harden drive to the rim and the defense has to make this decision: do I come up and help or do I stay home? And it's the moment they take that step towards him, he throws that lob and Clint Capella dunks the ball. Well, now instead of Clint Capella, that's Joel Embiid. So the opportunities are much greater because obviously Capella's a much more limited player. So it's not just, hey, Embiid, when I have the ball, the defense isn't going to be collapsing on me. It's also when I don't have the ball, I'm going to have opportunities created for me that were not happening before.
Anytime in basketball's history you put together these two players with these two resumes on a basketball team,
right,
that is a champion-worthy contender.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes.
People today are jumping very extremely on this trade because it involves superstars, because we love the transaction, because this was the seismic one of yesterday, that it gets in the middle of even Super Bowl week where everyone is like, oh my God, that is two names traded for each other. But I want to ask Amin and the rest of you, when Stephen A. Smith immediately reacts to that trade with the extreme position of this is the worst move Daryl Morey has ever made, when Daryl Morey, a smart man who has the ability, which is not an easy ability, to consistently acquire superstars wherever it is that he's working. He has the ability to get stars, which is not easy in that sport, and it's a pretty important thing in that sport. When that guy has been working this many months to figure out what the hell the market is for Simmons, and the league has told you there's not one. There is not a real market for the talent that Amin is telling you that Ben Simmons could have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. Ben Simmons by himself will make you good defensively even if he never takes a three-pointer again the rest of his life because he's that versatile a defender. We don't know if he can play, but is it not clear to everyone listening to this that this is the best Daryl Morey can do? That there was nothing better for a player he was getting nothing from for half a season, who was making a mess and was never going to play again for the 76ers. That if you net James Harden, that's pretty damn good.
He had to do it. He had a guy that wasn't playing, that refused to play, and got one of the 10 best players in the NBA in James Harden. So he had to do it. I think what people are criticizing,
not
Stephen
anymore.
A. and others.
James Harden has not been one of the 10 best
top
players.
10, top 20 player in the NBA. But regardless, Dan, guys, you had someone who wasn't playing basketball for you, and you got James Harden for him.
No, it was a great trade.
But I think people feel like they gave up too much to get James Harden.
So this is an interesting conversation. Me and Howard and Kate have had this off air a bunch of times. The transition of, at least our sport, basketball, of people's focus from the here and now to something off in the horizon, right? Everyone wants to be this smart GM person, like, they gave up a 2027 top 8 protected pick and Harden is going to be paid, blah, blah. The championship window is now. Your guy is playing like an MVP. Why the hell are you talking to me about what Harden's going to make in 5 years? Who cares? He can be in a wheelchair with sticks for arms at that point.
Morey has never cared about that.
If right now we have a chance, right now the window's open. There's nobody who's out there that you could say, oh yeah, they'll definitely wax us in a playoff series. You have an opportunity to go out and win a championship. They went for it. Does that mean the fears that people have years down the line is incorrect? No. But the idea is the window is now, and basketball, for whatever reason, has turned into this game of whenever people do deals, we want to know who's going to be better off 5 years from now. Who cares? They got, you know what? Whatever it is, they top 30, top 25, whatever it is, you added one of those great players to the guy that people are saying is the MVP this year. This is not a bad deal if you're going for it. If you want to do financial planning for the next 30 years, okay, maybe it was terrible.
I'm with you. It's a good trade just because, hey, they got something for what was nothing, on at least in terms of the balance of this season. What kind of player is James Harden right now? Because I'm looking through the numbers. He is an all-star, although he was comically the last all-star drafted last night. He's having a career worst year as a starter. This is his worst per as a starter. This, if you look at his efficiency numbers, he is probably having, I would say, overall, this is the worst season of James Harden's career as a full-fledged NBA starter.
Yeah, post Oklahoma City, right? Part of that is because he had a really rough start to the beginning of the year. Part of that is lately he's been playing hurt, right? So I think those are factors that you got to factor. You can't ignore it in the same way that, you know, I can't say, well, if everyone's healthy, well, he's not healthy, and that's part of the equation. That's part of the fear is that this guy who has a lot of miles on him, how much does he have left? But I think also part of it is he's playing for a broken team, right? How much of that was Durant out there? How much was Kyrie out there? He's playing with Paul Millsap and Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, that's not a good team, and that's not fair to ask him to carry that much, especially when that's not what he signed up for. I think coming to Philadelphia, way more balanced. Obviously, he's not the best player, and there's going to be someone there that they hope night in, night out. Let me put it this way. Stugotz, what you said, this guy is a top 10 player. If you had said it 12 months ago, would we jump at you? We would say, yeah, you're right. So because he's had a rough this season, that's it? It's over? He'll never be good again?
Are you rooting for Nets Suns NBA Finals just so we can have a situation where 30% of the players on the court have dated or are presently dating Kendall Jenner?
What do you guys find most interesting about this? If you have to choose one thing, I have a nominee for this, and I'm curious whether you guys think you can top it.
For me, it's the amount of people who are saying that by trading James Harden and getting back Ben Simmons, if he plays and KD, gets back to being KD, that the Nets actually won that deal. They're the better team now. They're better than the Sixers. They gave up James Harden and got better.
Okay, because the reason I asked the question is because we don't know shit today. Nothing. Nothing. Don't know whether Ben Simmons is mentally right. Don't know if James Harden is healthy. It's just named transaction. We love that. So the analysis of what's this going to do to me is among the least interesting things here because we don't know. We can guess, but there's a lot of unknowns here, more than you ever get because these guys, this is knuckleheads traded for each other. This is problem children traded for each other. And we can examine it and dissect it and believe what we want to believe. But this is a really hard analysis to do given the unknown variables in this equation where you've got the last time we saw Ben Simmons short-circuiting on a court in a way we've never seen before.
Well, Amin, you could probably speak to how Steve Nash plans to use Ben Simmons because I'm curious. They had some of these issues with James Harden and Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving, historically ball-dominant players. How is Steve Nash, given your insight being together with him in the Suns organization, how do you think they plan to use him?
What he's run has not been like a pure Mike D'Antoni 7 seconds or less offense. It's kind of been mixed up, and a lot of that, by the way, is because he hasn't had his full complement. So I kind of hesitate to make any like sweeping assumptions because I got 16 games of him with these three guys playing together. Obviously, they made the decision last year that Kyrie's probably better being the off-ball guard, and when he gets the ball, not to have any kind of responsibility trying to create for others. Just do your thing. Whereas Harden had more of the responsibility of being the playmaker. But yeah, no, I'm interested to see too first of all, how do you line up that front court? Because it's still kind of the same issue as before. If you have a big out there who can't shoot or space, and you have Simmons, then that's two non-spacers. The other three guys, I have to deal with. So
Curry helps a lot as a shooter.
So that was a huge part, right?
Big part.
One of the things that they were talking about was Daryl didn't want to give up Curry. He wanted to send them Danny Green. But Sean Marks said, no, you're going to have to send me Seth Curry.
But it tells you and tells everyone in the league that Ben Simmons, you had to give things that had value to get that away from your team.
Yep. I mean, but at the same time, Daryl's point from the beginning wasn't about, I'm going to get 700 first-round picks for this guy. His thing was, I want someone who's going to help us win a championship.
Right now.
Right now, not 5 years from now.
But what?
And he said, I have a list of about 30 guys that fit that description. And we're assuming this list is people like Bradley Beal and James Harden and stuff. So, you could say what you want. I told Mike this yesterday. Pablo Torre tweeted out, this is why you don't trade Ben Simmons for De'Aaron Fox. Because they went out and got a freaking MVP candidate, and instead
had to give up plenty to get him, right? But had to give up pieces. The reason Stephen A. Smith is saying worst move of Morey's career is what happened to you were going to bring back first-round picks, not give up first-round picks.
When did he ever say that? When did he ever say, I'm going to go get first-round picks? And that's because Stephen A.'s fallen in the trap that I'm talking about. We've been conditioned now that every deal is about how good will we be down the line. And it doesn't matter if you're going for it right now.
But, Morey could have just, they could have stayed put, right, and signed James Harden in the offseason. They still have Seth Curry, correct? And the draft picks.
Sure, but two things. One, in the offseason, James Harden would have to opt out. You have to clear out the cap space. They were a tax team before this transaction. I haven't looked at the numbers afterwards. But basically, you got all this money. You got Simmons still under contract. You have Tobias Harris still under contract. You have to move mountains. You probably have to attach picks to move Tobias Harris's contract in order to get the cap space to do it. That's one. Two is, again, your MVP is playing MVP now.
Right.
I'm going to say, hey, Joel, you're playing great, buddy. Second round knockout this year, and then next year's going to be great. We don't know what's going to happen
And a guy
year.
who gets hurt. Like a guy, he's eliminated some of that, but it could happen at any point. Are those the parts of this? You're a basketball head. You've been inside this game. Are the permutations, transactions, the way that these pieces are going to work, is that the most interesting part to you? Because to me, the most interesting part is more macro than that, more societal, more fascination with, man, Chris Bosh, you've heard me use this quote before, say, in the middle of the mess, you don't know the nature of the sacrifices you're making until you're making them. Chris Bosh learned that. He was on stage dancing. This is going to be easy. And he's like, oh, my God, this is not easy. The quickness with which James Harden got to unhappiness in Brooklyn is hugely startling to me. How quickly he realized, oh my God, I've made a terrible mistake. Get me out of here. When they played 16 games together, I just can't believe how fast that happened.
I don't know, but I think the discontent wasn't because, I hate sacrificing with two other superstars. I think it's the opposite. He said, I signed up because I thought I was going to come here and be part of this big thing. And instead, I got one guy who's hurt all the time, and I got another guy who takes half the season off because, for whatever reason. And now I'm doing all this heavy lifting, but instead of doing it what I did in Houston with guys who were very functional players, I'm doing it with LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin and Paul Millsap and some other guys
Patty
who are like
Mills.
Either guys that are 100 years old or guys who are like 12 years old and still finding their place in the league. If you're James Harden, you're like, that's not what I signed up for. And it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon. And you're looking down the road, down 95, and you're like, well, that guy over there is playing great. And I know the guy that runs that place, and I have a relationship with him. He's cool.
And he's trying to win.
So it's like, let me go over there.
You roll your eyes at it, but give me all the times we've seen this happen anywhere in sports where somebody builds a super team and a year and a half later, never mind.
I mean,
yeah, but how many times have you had a super team where one of the superstars is unwilling to play at home, doesn't want to get a shot, doesn't want to get vaccinated?
Agreed.
Kevin Durant's a headache.
But I just can't believe the Nets were on the Sports Illustrated cover when they got Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Darren Williams, and I thought that was an epic failure as a Nets team. You're going to have a hard time finding anything that underproduced with more hype and fell apart faster than this thing fell apart in Brooklyn.
It's actually happened a lot recently. Everyone was trying to chase the, I guess, the Celtics and then Heat model, and then you had the Brooklyn Nets. Who's going to stop these guys? SI cover. You had, this is going to be really fun, Los Angeles Lakers,
SI
Steve
cover,
Nash.
yeah.
You also had the super team that Stugotz was super excited about that featured Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah.
Another
should have been better.
Another example is Oklahoma City when they got Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, right? Like I think the biggest sin the Warriors committed was that it made it look easy. And it's not. Like the whole idea was it wasn't just, hey, we got four guys and they're big stars and everything else was history. It's we have a system, we have a way of doing things, which by the way is why it worked in Miami and why it worked in Boston. All those places, they had a system beforehand. Like this is how we do things. You're going to have to fit that in. Everywhere where it's like, just roll out the ball. Here come the guys. Man, everyone just roll out the red carpet. It doesn't work because you have to have a framework for this stuff.
It's like a half inch away from working in Brooklyn, to be honest. I mean, Kevin Durant's toe was on the line.
But not because of the combination of the three of them,
I know.
Right? Like,
right.
If it would have worked in Brooklyn, it would have worked because Kevin Durant by himself is amazing.
Yes.
Kyrie Irving is objecting to some of the details that are being reported now. I don't know if it's that sage detail or not.
We saw him do that on the court in Boston once.
He is saying on Twitter, keep my family's name out of y'all's simpleton articles. The puppets are running wild again.
What has anyone mentioned his family in any of this?
There's probably something out there about it.
I don't know.
But nothing that I've read. That's not a...
There's a reason he's saying
that's not a denial. I mean, there was a couple reporters that were
always
sourced
with
on
Kyrie.
that.
Good point.
It's not always. We don't know the reasons always with Kyrie. They might not be the reasons you think they are.
Technically, he is part of his family, so.
I mean, we had the reporter that reported on his aunt, but that was a while ago. Do you follow Kyrie Irving on Instagram?
I do.
What does he Google to find some of these images?
I don't know. I think he has them commissioned. Has to be. These are all originals, right? Like, there's no way. It's like a pride of lions, and then there's like a fiery eye in the sky, and there's a pyramid, and look, it's breathtaking, especially if you're on like shrooms or something. It's like it must look so cool. 3-dimensionally, colors flying past you. Look at that.
You're guessing on shrooms it would look cool, is what you're saying.
I'm guessing, yes. Okay. I've heard.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Doesn't everything look cool on shrooms at LeBatard Show? But I'd like to examine for a moment, if we could, because we don't get what happened, Billy. Why is Jessica roaring with laughter?
Our guy over here in the corner, who I'm not going to reveal, just said, no, that is not true.
Now you don't reveal the guy in the corner.
Well, you know.
Bad shrooms.
Can we again just
Shrooms.
examine and laugh at how you go from Brooklyn Nets super team of Kyrie and Durant and James Harden to last night during the All-Star celebration of the sport, as the two biggest stars get together to select a team for the All-Star game, which is a new symbolic image, Stugotz, for player empowerment. LeBron and Durant run this league. You want to know how evident it is? Look, here are these two guys on television selecting the team for the All-Star game. We didn't used to do it that way, but this is what these guys have wrought, all of it. And now they're on television laughing at James Harden being the last pick. LeBron is, I found that to be super delightful, entertaining television with Charles Barkley just shouting, natural and human. It felt like the locker room to me, honestly. And the locker room is one of the most honest places you will find, where Charles Barkley is egging them on, saying James Harden's going to be healthy now. Yeah. He just got traded, so he's perfectly healthy now. And LeBron was throwing him an alley-oop. Right. LeBron's like asking at the end of it, is he healthy? Because he's working a comedy bit with Durant and Barkley while they pick the All-Star team.
It was glorious and it was masterful. LeBron throws the alley-oop first because he's trying to go through the selections. He says, is James healthy? And Charles jumps at it and says, he is now, right? He's going to be fine. That hamstring feels great.
Durant couldn't even keep the smile off his face. It's hard to get him to break dark character.
But Durant brings it back at the end when the last two names on the board are Rudy Gobert and James Harden.
It was so well played.
And he's in such a dry way. He starts going, well, they got a lot of sides over there. You know, they got Giannis and LeBron. I need some size. Like him just justifying.
Kenny's setup, too. Like, oh, man, you need some size to compete against these guys. Perfect. Basically just willing that moment into existence.
I liked it before that, when it felt like a game show and all of us, you're watching it and you see three names up there. Oh, and Van Fleet, it's just get out of here. It's like Gobert called for the ball, the joke in the post. Because
he cleared everybody out.
We're going to spend a couple of minutes here just getting the audience to the game show payoff of you're all going to get what you want. It's going to be bells and whistles, and you're going to point and laugh at the beard. Even Durant's not going to be able to help himself. He's going to fall out of character. The guy who's been arguing with eggs for 3 years isn't going to be able to be brooding and unhappy. He's gonna laugh.
I liked him for a second. I did. I hate when he does that.
Can't talk about this trade enough because of how much we love the transaction. But I want to ask you guys, in a sport where during the social justice stuff, many people who didn't watch that much basketball to begin with turned away and like, I don't want any more of this messaging. As the black dudes get more and more power and city teams and regional prides get destroyed by James Harden deciding in a few months, never mind. That didn't feel good. Are you costing yourself fans who love transactions, because God knows you love the transactions, when you have this kind of foolishness? Because it's not professionalism. It cannot be said that the millions of dollars being paid to James Harden and Ben Simmons are being supported with professional behavior. You can have empathy for mental illness. You can bend over backwards to see if you can find the places to support Ben Simmons, if indeed he is having mental tribulations that aren't going to be cured the moment that he gets to Brooklyn. But I ask you guys seriously, in the age of entertainment, the content age, in the age of people loving sports transactions, are they going to lose fans with these millionaires behaving badly while just torching what it is that is, quote unquote, team play, and we're all in this together, and sis boom ba, and I made Hoosiers a movie that people like because I play to the mythical stuff that basketball can be?
I don't think they'll lose fans. I happen to think this makes the NBA in the postseason potentially more intriguing and interesting. You could have a Nets-Sixers series in which Ben Simmons is going up against his. I understand what you're asking.
Well, but I don't think you do from this perspective. If Harden had just done this to your Nets,
right?
If Durant and Harden,
but one fan base gets let down, another fan base gets excited. I mean, it kind of evens out. And in the case of this particular deal, I think both fan bases are kind of excited.
If these guys had all gone to the Knicks like you wanted them to instead of to Brooklyn and they were doing this to your team right now, I don't think that's what your opinion would be.
I think, one of the things that Kate and Howard and I have talked about is the idea that what you're describing, Dan, is the NBA inadvertently has trained its fans that yesterday is the real thing you're rooting for. Not, oh, man, I can't wait for Simmons to play with Durant and Kyrie. Not, oh, I can't wait to see Embiid and Harden, what they're going to do. We're rooting for literally breaking news, da-da-da-da. Like, that's what we're rooting for, transactions. And the way the media has covered basketball over the last 5 years has increasingly gone very transaction-based. We put this incredible value on who broke the news. Well, he had it 7 seconds earlier than that guy had it, so he's the one. And none of it matters. Like Tom yesterday had the stat from StatMuse that at the end of the trade deadline, Shams broke 12 stories. Woj only broke 8. And honestly, and I know we're live on YouTube, I'm going to say, who gives a fuck? Why do we care?
It's good that you said you're live on YouTube so that you can throw the...
Exactly.
It's a big day for Shams.
Yes.
It's a big point you want to make with an F in it.
Right, exactly. But Dan, this is what Ethan Strauss writes about a lot. Like the idea that basketball's ratings going down and the issue that they have is because everything that you kind of put value on as a sport is none of it is the stuff that happens on the court. It's the soap opera stuff. It's the who's going to get traded, who doesn't like playing with whom.
But is it good or bad for fans? Because I can see old fans. Like, you're going to lose a demo, man. You can't tell me you're not going to lose a demo with players having this much power. You guys have hated me for many, many years for arguing on behalf of players having the power that is commensurate with their earning power. And I'm the apologist, and I'm the guy who's always supporting player empowerment because I want everybody to be free agents and make the rich guys spend a bunch of money in not salary cap sports to have to compete against the other rich guy. And I've been supporting it for a long time, and I wonder, because I've been yelled at by these people for a long time, hey, are old people going to like the changes in this sport? Because the soap opera stuff and the transaction stuff and the changing of stuff is young people.
But I don't think the NBA, and I agree with them, if indeed this is their kind of case here, I don't think they care about the older demo. They care about the younger demo. They don't care about the older demographic. They don't care about my dad. They don't care about Bob Ryan. They care about young people because young people will stick with the sport for the next 30, 40 years. My dad is soured on basketball long before yesterday, Dan.
Well, what's the age, though? Because I'm guessing there are a whole lot of... This is a very recent phenomenon, because this is the last 10 years, and it's escalated the last 5. So you go from, oh, that's cool, LeBron and Dwayne and Bosh are doing something I haven't seen before. Maximum interest to, oh, look, it blew up in 16 months, 16 games played. Harden was unhappy. And Simmons, he gets traded for another guy who simply was afraid to shoot at the end of a game and is now somebody who has been making millions and millions of dollars. And the last time we saw him was so incompetent that any one of us would have been that kind of afraid to shoot if we'd been on a court, but we're not used to seeing it from a professional basketball player who's alleged to be an all-star.
I just don't see how it's a bad thing for the league. Maybe the older demographic, but Dan, on the Thursday before the Super Bowl and now the Friday before the Super Bowl, we are talking about this trade because it was that big.
But nobody watched the finals last year.
Yeah, see that's the point, Stugotz. It's this. That's what Ethan talks about all the time. It's like the idea that we're all talking about it, but at the end of the day, the league doesn't really make money on us talking about it. That's cool, but the main driver of money is games on, click, I'm going to watch. And if you have people who aren't tuning in, then that's a problem.
There's the Bucks and the Suns, too, by the way.
I mean, but still.
there's stars on those teams.
Lakers Heat didn't do well. That's LeBron in the finals versus Miami.
Right.
Should have been a thing. It wasn't.
Bubble.
Well, what does it have to be, Stugotz? Because you love names. So yeah, there are like four. The great finals permutations for Stugotz that everyone will watch are.
You got to give me Sixers and Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, I need that.
You
You
may
give
get
me.
it in the play-in right now.
I know. I mean, KD is going to get healthy, and Simmons will likely play, right? So we think they'll be better.
As it stands right now, I'd probably put my money on that matchup not happening, given the present structure of the NBA standings.
I just want to see where Stugotz is going to go with this. Go ahead, man.
I was going with either of those two teams against, well, particularly the Nets against the Golden State Warriors. That would get a lot of people fired up.
Durant versus Golden State. Yes. I'm with you on that one. I think Nets Warriors would definitely do numbers because it's Durant playing against the team that he said no to the team that he built. And we're going to be able to run with the storyline of, remember when Golden State played at Brooklyn and the crowd was chanting MVP, but it wasn't for Durant, it was for Steph Curry. We got all of that. I'm with you, Stugotz. Who do you have in the conference finals in the West, though?
I would say Golden State and Memphis. That would be nice. Really? Now, a lot of people don't care about Memphis, okay? But I like Ja Morant, and I think he's exciting. So
You've just taken the Kendall Jenner NBA Finals off the table.
Sorry.
Stugotz does not want Chris Paul again doing.
Who wants that?
Close.
Well, get to the finals and lose.
Stugotz is in trouble this year because that team.
They're killing.
I mean,
I was in trouble last year and he didn't win.
He did not win, but this team, this is the best Phoenix Suns team we've seen.
Maybe ever. That's the teams I worked on. That's the Charles Barkley teams. That's the Paul Westphal teams in the 70s. Maybe ever. Like
I'm glad 55 games in, they're the greatest Suns team ever. Do me a favor. Do it in the playoffs. Enough. I don't want to hear where the best team ever 55 games into a regular season. Who cares? Finish it off.
Well, no, you don't want them to finish it
I
off.
don't.
You just said you're
now,
actively
if we get
rooting
Suns
for
Nets,
them.
then I'm really in trouble. I don't know what to do.
we have opted to do slightly less on this Friday of the bringing guests through a perpetual car wash of sound and selling here during the live portion of what we're doing. Zach Ertz will be with us toward the end of this hour. But if you want your full fill of Radio Row football, Stugotz, God Bless Football, is just belching exhaust, and Stugotz is running around pinballing, snorting every piece of football. He runs out of the room. He's like, "Where do you mean CD Lamb is available?" And he runs out. And so God Bless Football. Is there going to be an extra God Bless Football this week, a weekend God Bless Football?
I believe there will be. Tomorrow we should be releasing a second episode. Today we have Dwayne Carter. That's Michael Carter's brother.
Wow.
Michael Carter was there too, but Dwayne was the star.
But Dwayne was the star. They brought in Braxton Berrios because that's what Super Bowl and Radio Row is all about, Dan. CeeDee Lamb joined us, Chris Sims, Chef KK. We played a great game of OKK or not OKK with Chef KK. It was fantastic. Tyler Lockett stopped by. Michael Irvin, the playmaker stopped by. We're talking to Breeze later. Eli Manning, Rob Gronkowski. I mean, we got them all. Russell Wilson. Oh, Russell! Yeah. Oh, Super Bowl
Mac
week.
Jones, Melvin Gordon. Who's who?
Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
God bless football, huh?
Billy, are you exhausted because you have just been chasing around Stugotz and wrangling Stugotz, and Stugotz keeps running off to the next CD Lamb? How do you feel about the insanity that your week has been?
Talk to me on Tuesday, because if things go according to plan, this is not ending today or with tomorrow's release.
I've seen a whole lot of things. I believe that the Super Bowl, I can't give you any details on this, but I have seen a lot of work in the shadows, and I believe the Super Bowl. Mike, the Super Bowl is still going to be with us. How many days after the Super Bowl? Are we planning something that we cannot talk about right now, but something that will be in a few days after the Super Bowl? We will have
the
something
Super Bowl's
else
always
for
with
you.
me.
We will continue.
Depends on how good the game is, Dan, I guess. If it's memorable, I guess it depends on how good the game is.
Jessica, have you seen on Hulu? I heard you talking.
Pam and Tommy. Oh my God, Dan. Yes, I have seen it.
Can you? This was, I think, basically the invention of the sex tape, or the fame accompanying a sex tape. Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee.
There is no greater to America's moment than when I saw the Variety tweet about like Pam and Tommy coming out on Hulu, and I said, "Wow, Pam and Tommy from Martin got their own show, but isn't Tommy dead?" I was completely confused until I clicked the link and said, "Oh, it's a different Pam and Tommy."
Rest in power.
Rest in power, Tommy Michael Ford.
I love that 90s cultural moments are now becoming nostalgic so that we can make shows about them. I don't know if you saw the American Crime Story about the impeachment of Bill Clinton. That was a story that I was very young when it happened. I want to know what actually happened. I want to feel like I was there because it's something that has been ubiquitous, that I've known since I was young was a thing, but I wasn't aware of it at the time. I didn't know what it really was.
I think you're going to be disgusted by all of it.
The Pam and Tommy show is, I watched all the VH1. I love the 90s.
Hold on, Jessica. Hold on. Amin had something in a small window, failed. He's tired. It's slow.
Window.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Amin. You got to work faster.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Not bad.
Needed a bigger window.
Not bad. Your limited fake bill. You've been a surprise this week with your ability to go grab impersonations. You were saying,
the
Jessica.
Stephen A.
I love that these shows are now coming out because I can finally learn a little bit more about like this sex tape, and the casting on the show has been what I have really enjoyed. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a cameo in the second episode that I was just not expecting, and it is some tremendous voice work. I'll leave it at that.
I love nostalgia. There's so many things that are happening, and they're happening so quickly that my mortality.
The penis talks, Dan.
No.
What?
I also found out after the fact, Tommy Lee wrote an autobiography co-written by his penis. Like his penis has a personality.
Wait, Did it
in the
have
book
like
about his life.
a pen in its? I'm
In its
imagining
what? In its what?
It's just like it's sitting there and it's got a quill.
Thank you.
And it's dipping it into the ink.
Thank you.
But you had a pen with a hand?
Yes, a
penis with a hand.
A penis with a
Pen
hand.
15.
And it's kind of like stroking its chin a little bit as it's thinking about its memoirs it's going to write. And then it kind of folds over and starts scribbling.
Among the weird things happening, though, where the 90s are coming to life again, you've got Snoop Dogg buying Death Row. And you've got Dave Chappelle yelling at a city council meeting.
Come on.
Yes, and
we've really made Dave Chappelle something that he's not.
This isn't fair. What's happened to Dave Chappelle here recently, just trying to protect his area, his hometown, and trying to keep it not from being overdeveloped.
Objection, leading the witness. He's against low income housing.
Well, you need to read more. You need to read more about that story because it's how it's been aggregated, and it doesn't seem like it's totally fair.
Thank you, Dan.
It just seems like the latest thing to do to Chappelle, and I'm not in any way interested in defending Chappelle against poor people. No, but you haven't read enough about this story. What's happened here is
How's it feel?
This went viral when a local guy. Of course, it's very easy to say rich guy isn't in favor of affordable housing. That's how it's gotten aggregated. But here, listen to the sound that's gone viral.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, and Marianne, I can talk to you about this privately. I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
It's his money, the $65 million he's talking about.
My favorite thing is that there are people in the background laughing like a Doc Rivers press conference. He wasn't joking, guys. He was actually making a serious point.
It reminded me of Andrew Dice Clay on Arsenio Hall. He was so hurt that people wouldn't take him seriously as little, Miss Muffet, that he went out there and tried to give a heartfelt speech about wanting to be understood, and people were laughing as he was breaking down on television because they're just like, you don't want to be stereotyped? How about we laugh at you even when you're sad because we think you're making jokes?
Oh, I love how hip and fresh and young this show is with the Arsenio Hall references. But then
Don Rickles too, don't forget.
R.I.P. Rest in power, Don Rickles.
You said that you have nostalgia for things in the 90s that have now become documentaries. I figure, why not the 80s and the 70s while we're at it?
Where's Greg Cody when you need him? But
never around.
Right on cue. Dan, I'm glad that you stopped Mike from doing the thing that everybody on Twitter does, which is react to a 30-second video and think pieces and not the actual deeper issue beyond it. He's not objecting about affordable housing. He's objecting that the developers were basically trying to build around his land and using the fact that that's his land as a selling point to people. Like, live right next door to Dave Chappelle. I think I'd have a problem with it too, particularly if I was someone who is as invested in that community as he is.
Which, by the way, he can live anywhere. And look at where he lives, and he specifically doesn't want it homogenized because, as he told Letterman a couple of years ago, this place is the same as it was 100 years ago. And so it's easy to dismiss the guy of the moment who is polarizing with, doesn't want affordable housing either, but it didn't seem fair based on the fact, and not only based on the facts, based on Dave Chappelle going to a goddamn city council meeting because he cares about something, because he cares about a community that not a whole lot of famous people care about, and he's pouring $65 million into it. I just thought it was interesting as he
apparently wasn't even trying to block the entire project, though, just the affordable housing units portion of it.
If you want to frame him as somebody who is anti-poor people based on a clip, you can. I'm saying there seem to be more details about someone's home there.
Right, so I just want to present all the details. Why not be against the entire project?
You have to keep, I would say you have to keep reading about the details on everything that's happening there.
Why can't he be anti-poor people? He's already anti-trans. Is this outside of the realm of possibility?
This doesn't seem to be what's in play here. You could jump to that conclusion if
No,
you
it's
like.
absolutely in play because it's part of the entire project. And it's the only part he seems to have an objection with.
That's incorrect.
Okay. Is it?
It's
Because
the
entire project is still on the table. The affordable housing units are the ones that seem to be a point of contention.
The point of contention is a project that is using his celebrity to get made.
He's on the billboards?
They're using it as part of sales materials.
Yeah, I'm sure. This is the town that Dave Chappelle lives in and invests in. I understand that.
And the properties adjacent to his property.
I understand. Right. I totally have an understanding of why he wouldn't want that on internal promotional material. He's not a part of the marketing campaign.
The other part of this is also the idea, and this is something we've talked about, is the idea that Dave Chappelle has a long history of being very clearly on the right side of things for this sort of stuff. And then now it's like we have a 30-second clip, erases everything. It's the Skip Bayless. It's like, I thought that Dave Chappelle cared about underprivileged people when he went back to his high school in Washington, D.C. and gave them a music program and paid for all sorts of things. But then I saw this 30-second clip, and it changes my mind forever.
You don't think that he's been kind of further indoctrinated after digging his heels in and playing to the support that he's getting? We're seeing the same stuff happen to another comedian right now. In fact, they're friends.
I would say, this is what I would say. I would say it's actually the opposite. It's people rallying around something they don't like about someone, and now because they can't just be something I disagree with them, I have to create a boogeyman. So it's not just, hey, I disagree with Dave Chappelle on trans issues. It's, he's awful and he hates poor people. You have to do this whole thing.
I guess what? No, I don't feel like I have to
Not
do
you,
that.
but
I feel like I have to do that particularly on this show because this show I think has made him to be one of the great modern philosophers, and I personally kind of felt that way too until I felt like he betrayed me.
But do you
over
not?
the last few.
But hold on. Think about this. If you thought he was one of the great modern day philosophers, and then he said something you didn't agree with. Does that invalidate all the other really insightful shit?
I think that's a little strong. I didn't think he was one of the great modern philosophers. I thought he was a great comedian, and he's just a comedian. And I don't like to make comedians something out that they're not really.
Fine. So that would have been your opinion before the last couple of specials, then.
Right. No, but I just don't think I've lost some respect for him. Not that matters. I'm sure a lot of people.
No, but that's happening
doing something
a lot.
Provocative and thought provoking, but. It's not for me, and I thought I did think he was one of the great communicators, and I do think that he opened a lot of portals to some of these causes, some of the causes that you've outlined right there, some of this stuff, and at least some of the reporting on this is being projected in a certain way.
Absolutely, yeah.
I totally get that, and I don't know truly what's at the heart of this. There seems to be points of contention as to what parts of this development he is against, but I did truly believe him to be one of the great communicators of our time.
Right.
And I've seen him over the course of 3 stand-up specials fail to communicate because he is harping on something.
On one issue.
Well,
did you feel like he failed to communicate when he was talking about black people?
No, I felt like, no, absolutely not.
So it's not like he's lost the ability to communicate. You just felt like on this one issue.
No, I do feel like he's failing to communicate about black people.
Uh-huh.
I do.
How?
Because there are no black trans people?
No, but see, you're not talking about black people. You're talking about the trans issue.
No, I'm also talking,
You see what I'm saying?
But trans rights, if you look at the violence statistics,
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is, you said he used to be a great communicator, but now I don't know. Why? Because of this one issue that you don't agree with him about.
Because over the course of 3 stand-up specials, he's failing to communicate.
On that one issue.
Yeah.
But when he talks about anything not related to that one issue, do you feel like he's lost that ability there too?
But there's a lot of contradictions within that one issue that you can peel apart.
Sure.
And extrapolate that over an entire philosophy.
But it still comes down to the seed. The seed is still, this is the thing I disagree with him on. Right? This is the thing I disagree with him on.
Well, it also makes me find him less funny because over the course of those 3 specials, I didn't laugh, and I didn't really see his side
on that issue.
Well, but he's a comedian.
No, but
make me laugh.
But no one bats 1,000. Everyone makes jokes that some people
he's
don't.
over his last 3.
3 specials?
Yeah.
3 you thought from beginning to end you were just like, here he goes.
No, I thought. Well, maybe my math is wrong because I just flatly didn't want to watch his most recent special.
Okay.
But I thought the George Floyd one was pointent, and I thought
that
he
wasn't
spoke to a lot of
That was
great-
just 10 minutes
Yeah.
of
Of him
storytelling,
talking.
but that's where he made the trip to philosopher, though. Dave Chappelle has been a great comedian and a great public orator, one of the great storytellers of all time. But when he did those 8 minutes from his hometown in a field after George Floyd, and it was not comedy.
No, it wasn't.
He made the leap, the same kind of leap that Joe Rogan's making, into another space where comedians are given a little more power. And I do think a lot of this is super interesting because I just got done seeing the documentary in 4 parts on Let's Talk About Cosby, and Seinfeld is in a seat opposite Colbert. And Colbert's like, I can't find him funny anymore. Don't find him funny anymore. And Seinfeld is stunned by this. He's looking at him like, what are you, really? Like, you can't separate the two things? And Colbert's like, no, one of the great comedians of all time, stand-up comedians. Nope, I cannot separate. He's a rapist.
I can separate Dave Chappelle from this take. I really can. I honestly could. He's not really affording me that opportunity because much like we're harping right now and the audience reaction to it is probably poor, he's harping on it.
So this is the analogy I would think of, Mike. If you went to a pizza place, right, and you said, let me try the pepperoni. Love the pepperoni here. Their pizza's so good. Their dough's so good. And then you tried the chicken, buffalo chicken. Oh, my God, it was so good, so tasty. Oh, the mushroom, so tasty. Then you had the anchovies. You're like, ugh, this is gross. What you're doing now is saying, that's a terrible pizza place. They used to have great dough and great sauce and great cheese. And then I had a slice of anchovy that I didn't like. And so now I'm saying everything here I don't like.
I appreciate it. But I think what I'm really doing is, with me, Dave Chappelle lost the benefit of the doubt over the course of a couple of specials. And this is a situation where if I probably didn't have those previous specials, I'd extend him the benefit of the doubt.
So you're saying, like, hey, they came out with a Supreme, but, oh, man, that anchovy I had last time. The last 3 times I had anchovies, and so I don't trust the Supreme.
Well, let's deconstruct this for a second.
I'm just trying to be honest.
I know,
like,
and
this is all about losing the benefit.
I know,
of
but
the doubt.
I'm not denying you what you're feeling. What I'm trying to deconstruct is the idea that because of one particular slice of pizza that you did not enjoy or agree with, you are now throwing out all the rest of it. You're saying everything. Currently, I'm not talking about the catalog. Not talking about the catalog.
It's 3 slices of pizza.
But it was the same. It was the same slice.
But let's not do that though. Colbert. Many people listening to this. Yes, there are any number of things where you're Aaron Rodgers or Dave Chappelle. There are any number of people who will say, "Yep, that's it. That one thing. That is a vote. I'm a one-issue voter."
Okay, that's fine. But when Mike says he used to be able to communicate so well, and I'm like, but that hasn't changed. It just stopped at this issue that you don't agree with him about.
It's not even about the issue that I don't agree with him.
What it's about?
It's about him for multiple specials failing to communicate it instead of moving on.
I think
because every time, like the goalposts move, he reshapes it a little bit, but the core offensiveness.
He wants the last word. He's not.
He does, and he has it. And there, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because you're always going to sell out the arenas. Like what
he has spent 3 specials trying to get the last word on the trans
What I say
issue.
doesn't really matter. All I'm saying is that with me, now all of a sudden there's a he said situation right now. They reported. It's conflicting information. People have their agendas. Do I look at them now and do I go camp Chappelle, where I usually would prior to the 3 previous specials? I would be like, no, damn right, Dave Chappelle, stand up for yourself. They're using you in this situation. This, to me, is a 50-50 proposition, and because he burnt up all that capital with me because I feel so let down by, yes, it's one position. It's one anchovy pizza that I've had 3 times. But, yeah, that's burnt up, and I don't think it's a small thing. It's human rights.
See, I agree with you that it's not a small thing. My thing is just that, I don't know where we ended up as a society where we're not allowed to go a la carte anymore. We can't say, I agree with you on this, I don't agree with you this. I agree. We don't do that anymore. And then, second of all, the idea that, you can also, in this same analogy, you could say, I'm not getting any pizza, right?
Yeah. No,
right?
I did go a la carte.
So I'm saying, like,
but I did go.
So you're saying it's a 50-50 thing, but because of the things that happened the last couple of times, I'm gonna err on the side of people who are saying he hates.
I'm starting to listen to the people that tell me, like, why are you making Dave Chappelle out to be like this compassionate person? Like, yeah, I'd say because I've seen him over the last few specials
not be
so
compassionate
absent
about
compassion.
one thing. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going off of very recent data right now.
To me, it's like I read that, I saw that clip and I was like, wow, Dave, that's kind of a wild take or whatever. And then I read, I guess, a lot of what Dan was reading. I was like, okay, there's more to this and that. I see here today, like, I don't know.
I get what he's. I'm guilty
right.
of projecting my own personal
right.
feelings, which is like one of like maybe betrayal, because I feel very let down
right.
over the course of the last few specials, and I do go a la carte. I just pass up the most recent piece of pizza because I'm like, not this again.
Well, I mean,
if you want to go, like, I understand what you believe. Yeah. I think over the last couple of specials, you've tried to explain that to me. I'm not with it. There are plenty of people in my life that I don't agree with their philosophy on that very thing, too. And I find a way to keep it moving, keep it going.
Number of things interesting to me here, because we lived it with Tim Hardaway when he came on this show and said he hated gay people. And I was stunned after that what ended up happening, where I saw a whole lot of black people, religious people, rushing to the defense of Tim Hardaway. You know, there's just tribalism everywhere where identity politics make an appearance. And a number of things here that have happened over the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, where Dave Chappelle is someone now who hangs out with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk. So maybe he is an out-of-touch rich person who just doesn't want affordable housing, and you can just check that box along with all the other boxes. I don't know. But what this man's past is, to make him the man right. over poor people, when he has given voice and continues to give voice to, okay, understand you don't like me on the trans stuff, and I'm going to be stubborn about it and uncancelable about it because I walked away from Hollywood. I walked away from all of it because I'm going to do and talk about black people the way I want to talk about black people, and you have now allowed trans people to go in front of the line ahead of black people on how it is you humanize them, and I'm not going to let you. As a person who has been a black philosopher who's tried to wrap some of this in funny in a long time, I too have trouble with that, just like I have trouble with Aaron Rodgers and what it is that he did. And it doesn't happen to me very often because I can generally separate art from artists. But I want to ask the group this question, because as Colbert and Seinfeld, two giants, are talking about Cosby, the pioneering giant before them, and Colbert, hugely respected, says can't separate them. And the crime is rape. And it's rape multiple times. And in Chappelle's case, it is human rights, but it's still jokes. Mm-hmm. It's not rape. It's jokes. And it's still, to me, to you, on the wrong side of human rights. How about we treat everybody equally?
Yeah, the line's blurred on just jokes because he invokes data. And I have plenty of trans friends type of stuff.
But it's still language and comedy and jokes. Yeah. It's not the act that Colbert's checking out.
I understand that point.
Colbert is not defending, like a lot of comedians are defending Rogan and Chappelle, and what they're really doing is defending comedy. And themselves. Right. Colbert, faith-based Colbert, is saying, sorry, the act is so heinous by Cosby, can't find him funny anymore. And Seinfeld's looking at him and just stunned, like, really? You can't find him funny? Two great comedians.
I can still find Chappelle funny, and I could see the comments already. Turn Mike's mic off.
No,
it's not that. I'm having a very honest conversation with you about how I felt. I felt very strongly about this comedian. I loved him, and I still do love him, and I want him to aspire to be better. There are consequences for how he's dug his heels in. And some of it is me like being like, man, I'm not on your side here because I've seen a whole side of you that leads me to believe you might be on the wrong side of this.
You know what I respect the hell about you right now, Mike, is that you're admitting, this is coloring and impacting something that I would otherwise in a, emotionless, logical, rational way would not come to that sort of conclusion. There are a lot of people who don't. There are a lot of people who just, they will do this and say, no, I've always felt this way, and kind of refuse to admit the human nature that is kicking in at that point when you start to have those types of value judgments on something, again, off a 30-second clip. right? That people will make an absolute 100% Dave Chappelle piece of shit. That 30-second clip proves it, and not explore why they feel that way. So kudos to you. Also, Dan, the Seinfeld reaction thing is really, to me, that is the deepest level of, man, comedians have like their own kind of compartmentalization that they're able to do. When they are more than any other, I think, art form, more than music artists, more than actors, comedians, I think, can look at like the content and separate everything around it, whether it's drug abuse, whether it's rape, whether it's, in some cases, physical violence. Like, they're able to separate all that stuff and appreciate the content above all else. And I think that's what you saw in that clip. It's Colbert saying this dude committed multiple sex crimes. And Seinfeld in his mind said, yeah, but that's a funny-ass joke he made about chocolate cake in the morning. You know, like, mom never lets us eat chocolate cake for breakfast.
Dad is great. Gives us the chocolate cake.
I mean,
do you guys think Dick Vermeil should have made it to the Hall of Fame? I mean, it's a little weird, right? I mean, just the one Super Bowl victory, 120 career wins, 14 years in the broadcast booth, wasn't very good at the broadcast thing, went back to coaching, cried a lot, Hall of Fame. I don't know how I feel about it. Sam Mills, 20th year on the ballot. He's not. If you're on the ballot for 20 years and you don't get in, you should never get in. That's it. That's a rule of mine. Now, Baselli, he was on the 16th year, and that's 4 years before 20, if my math is correct. You know what I'm saying? So Baselli deserves to get in. But I am not certain Dick Vermeil, winner of one Super Bowl with a loaded team and a quarterback he got from a supermarket, I'm not certain he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. What do you think, Dan?
You talked about him like he was LeBron. That kind of boosts the credential.
Oh.
And still no Zach Thomas.
That's an outrage.
Is Dick Vermeil in the documentary? Pat and Tommy?
Dick Vermeil is not.
Would Sam Mills and Dick Vermeil be in the Hall of Fame according to Stugotz if you had a personal relationship with them the way that you do with Baselli, who's not returning your call today as we try to get him on to celebrate his Hall of Fame?
Oh, hell yeah.
Who's knocking on the doors to tell these guys that they're in the Hall of Fame now that the 6'9" David Baker guy has retired?
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He retired like the day after the email thing with John Gruden, so no one talked about it.
Oh, wait. Was he in the email?
No, I think it was unrelated. It was just poor timing on his part.
David Baker is his name? Is that his name?
David Baker.
And he looks like a giant. He looks like...
who's knocking? Who's doing the knocking?
It's a great question.
If Tony called me back, I'd ask him, but he hasn't called me back. It's a busy day for Tony Baselli.
Do you think David Baker messed up by retiring on that day? Couldn't he just waited a couple of weeks? Like, just kept it to yourself instead of announcing, like, in the wake of the biggest scandal of the year?
It was weird timing.
Like, he had his heart set. No, it has to be today. I don't give a damn what yesterday was.
I mean, they just snuck in the designated hitter in baseball.
No one's going to notice.
Looking, Tom Brady retired awkwardly on his day, and then Brian Flores came and took it. It's you got to be very careful about when you put your retirements.
But what do you think about Vermeil?
Well, I appreciate what you did, as our show often does, and I know a lot of people in the audience are going to be either telling, I mean, there's a lot of side choosing going on.
Everyone's going to hate us.
About Vermeil?
But I want to talk about
Vermeil?
The disappointment.
I want to add something to your comment about Aaron Rodgers, and I was also really disappointed, and just like I didn't really understand why he was doing what he was doing, because brown corduroy just doesn't look good in suit form.
Terrible.
If you're anyone really, especially if it's that much material. It also wasn't tailored very well, and with the long hair,
terrible.
It was just I don't know what Aaron Rodgers was doing, so I was also very disappointed by him last night.
Have you guys seen Prison Break?
Yeah.
The show?
Yeah.
He's starting to look kind of like the mob boss that was in prison.
Oh, that's a good call.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Season 2, epic.
What was his name?
Micah Parsons, was he universally by consensus?
The hot whistle.
Was he by consensus 50 votes for Defensive Player of the Year? TJ Watt didn't get any votes. Was it? Did I read that wrong?
TJ Watt won Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons was defensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
So apparently he got some votes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. My bad, because I don't really care about the awards very much, but I saw that Micah Parsons got 50 of 50 votes, and I was thinking to myself, there is no circumstance in America where anyone can get 50 of 50 votes on anything. Everything has
Except
to
that
be
guy.
controversial, and so I was confused by that.
You guys, you don't care about like a Dolphins player winning a big award last night, Dan? Did you? You didn't even know. Christian Wilkins won Best Celebration for doing the worm.
Oh, nice.
You were really fixated on that. You loved the award ceremonies for the NFL?
I was just there for TJ Watt, Dan.
That's it. And so, TJ Watt, congratulations. I'm sorry I confused you with Micah Parsons. I thought you were both worthy of Defensive Player of the Year.
TJ Watt, who rushed into the general manager's office and say, let's get this deal done and play football or whatever it was. Oh, my God. Stugotz, I'm with you, man. I hate
you.
them
Finally.
so much.
No, but this is not. This
The
is
Watts.
These are the Watts. This is not.
family,
His objection is to JJ Watt.
No, it's the family, right?
Well, no, it's just JJ right now. I mean, TJ's coming on strong.
Derek
but-
hasn't done anything wrong yet.
Not yet. He hasn't had his moment in the sun where he gets
Do you
to be
want
a
to
fraud.
complete the story that you're telling about TJ Watt?
So-
Because some people might not know it. But yes, he
Sure.
was very eager to sign his contract because he just loves to play football.
They were haggling on the number, like his agent and the team, and it was getting closer to camp. And so he struts into the general manager's office and just signs the deal and says, like, let's get to work, or some dumbass.
Something JJ would do.
Something
The story
JJ
is,
would do.
the story is that he walked into the Rooney's office and said, "Mr. Rooney, I think we have a deal. If you'll excuse me now, I'm going to head out to the weight room. I've got a workout to go get."
I mean, just like who?
Turn it off for a second.
I know.
Right. Yeah.
Did you see Micah Parsons won that race over the Pro Bowl? It didn't seem like Tyreek Hill and Nick Chubb were really trying at the start, but Nick Chubb tried to close a gap, and Parsons won a race that featured Tyreek Hill and Nick Chubb and Trayvon Diggs.
It wasn't fair, though. He had a flamethrower in the back.
What about Sam Mills? I mean,
Worthy.
you can't be the
Worthy.
third or fourth best linebacker on your own team, wait 20 years, and then get into the Hall of Fame. Ricky Jackson was better. Pat Swilling was better. I mean, it's weird. Vaughn was better. I don't remember his first name.
You thought they were better than Sam Mills, huh?
I thought Swilling was. I thought Ricky Jackson was.
What about,
Wow.
What about Carolina?
He was pretty good there.
I can't believe you are showing me right now. I mean, what I'm assuming.
Oh my God.
I have not seen the show Prison Break.
Oh no, that's Aaron Rodgers.
But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm looking at this through the Zoom and I have not been able to see it myself. Is this the guy from Fargo, having lost a lot of weight, that put someone in the meat chipper?
Is it? I don't know.
That is a dude from Fargo.
He's skinnier and looks better than he did in Fargo when he was. This was 20 years ago when he was throwing. Spoiler alert.
Well, that was also kind of 20 years ago.
A body. Okay, so a body into a meat chipper.
God, I hope nobody texts me. Yeah, I was so. You guys ever do that where you're showing someone something, you hand your phone over, and then
Oh my God, yes,
don't text
all
me
the
right
time.
now. I was so terrified. Dan was going to be holding it up to the camera, and then I was going to get some text that's just
a Dick Vermeil. Dick
What kind of stuff are you texting?
You never answered me on Dick Vermeil.
I appreciated the work you were doing after taking us out of the Chappelle quicksand that Amin and Mike were in, but I was actually enjoying a conversation that I don't hear being had very much between people who disagree politely about
You think
something.
anyone's talking about Dick Vermeil today? I mean,
You're totally forgetting about the Super Bowl he made with the Eagles.
yes, but he lost.
I understand
To the Raiders.
but that's that's an important piece of the resume.
Well, losing's not. No.
I'm gonna tell another story. It's one of my favorite Dick Vermeil stories, and it's a
wow.
word association that I play with him.
How many do you have?
I've got a few.
One of my favorites.
It's one. This one
You
is
wanna
a good
tell your
one.
top
though.
three?
This
Top
is
three?
a word. This is a word association. The others involve him crying, but my favorite Dick Vermeil story involves the former Philadelphia Eagles owner Leonard Toews, who was suing casinos because he'd get so drunk that he would sign paperwork for money and not remember how much money he was gambling. He would sign his signature incorrectly because he was so drunk. And at the end of his wealth, he's sitting in a mansion, Leonard Toews is, sitting in a mansion with very little furniture in it, and he's just super sad. And Dick Vermeil comes into the house all happy and stuff to tell Leonard Toews, hey, me and a lot of your friends got together about your situation, and we raised $10 million to help you out. And Leonard Toews looks up at Dick Vermeil and says, $10 million? I thought you were trying to help me.
No.
That's also my favorite Vermeil story.
We're going to take a break here, and Zach Ertz is going to help us close out Super Bowl Radio Row Week, brought to you by Naked Corporate Marketing and Greed. You guys out there wasting Meadowlark money, do you have anything to contribute to this hour? Anything you've seen on Radio Row?
They're still there.
Is Peter King around? Did you have a sandwich with George Sedano 2 hours away from Los Angeles?
Thoughts about Dick Vermeil?
Do you have
Anything?
a good Dick Vermeil story?
Actually, I have some commentary on the Seinfeld discussion if you want it.
Yes, go.
So actually, Dan, at the end of that Colbert interview, they go to commercial break, they come right back, and he totally retreats. He admits someone must have gotten to him, a handler or something. And he's like, actually, you know what, now that I think about it, I can't watch Cosby. And then he starts patting himself on the back, and he's like, isn't it great when people can change their mind? And he starts taking a victory lap on somebody clearly telling him, hey, you just stepped in it, you need to backpedal.
Totally worth sending you there. I mean, that's it.
For those of you who are disappointed, as we are, that Kenny G has not appeared on our show this week.
Oh, man.
All calls and texts went unreturned on Kenny G. I don't know if he's done with us or whether the bit has expired, but we will replace it right now with the Super Bowl tradition, the way that I think every Super Bowl should have ended on Radio Row throughout the history of time. With Zach Ertz. I believe that this is the way.
A new tradition.
I believe that this is going to be our new tradition, that Zach Ertz is going to be so charismatic here, and he's going to pull back the curtain on all the greedy corporate marketing that is at the Super Bowl right now. And we're going to talk to him about Sleep Number because he cares about it deeply. But I think we need to end this Super Bowl week with a big fireworks display of here's Zach Ertz, and he's going to talk to us for a while. And Zach, I just want to get your thoughts on this because it made me think of Billy Gill, our producer here, because Jose Canseco tweeted out, "I'm looking for a crypto token developer." And then someone wrote back to Zach Ertz from the handle Greg1667693542220 saying, "Hey, it's Greg, DM me, Jose, I can help." And then Jose DMs him, just so that he can respond to the question, "Are you a crypto dealer?" with, "No way, Jose."
That's well done.
Zach,
Set him up,
thank you for joining us on the show. There's really no transition. I just
really
wanted,
thought there would be.
I know,
But you did land the joke, man.
I just wanted to share with him about trolls on Twitter, social media. Zach Ertz, he's a big football star, and I just wanted to share that
This
story.
interaction happened months ago, and you busted it out for the
That's
Zach
right.
Ertz interview.
That's right. I busted it out
Extraordinary non sequitur.
to welcome
Zach,
in.
did you see that shark swimming in the hurricane water?
Oh, man. Thank you guys for having me. I will be here as long as Dan wears this outfit for the next Super Bowl with this hat and this leather jacket.
You'll finish off the week with us every year?
Yeah, an ode to Indiana Jones over here. So it's all good.
Indiana scones, not Indiana Jones. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate you joining us. Let's get the bit of business out of the way so that we can talk about honest stuff and fool around with you. Explain to me, before you tell me why Sleep Number means so much to you, can you take us behind the transaction on this? Like how much coaxing is involved? Your agent calls you, "Hey, are you willing to go talk to a bunch of dirty people butt crack on Radio Row and sell our product?" Like, take me through this process.
I mean, it didn't take much. You know, Sleep Number is such a brand that aligns with what Julie and I do. Our focus, obviously, is playing our sports at the highest level that we possibly can. And a key cog of that, and I think it's been known for our agent and the people that we kind of associate with in terms of partners, is just that we want to take care of our bodies. And sleep for us is, I need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Otherwise, I'm just a terrible person. No one wants to be around me. My wife doesn't want to be around me. And so Sleep Number was such a natural fit for us with their beds, their new bed, the 360 bed. It allows us to have our own setting. I'm able to have my own setting. It's around 80. It's firm, but not too firm. My wife's able to have her own setting. And then they also align with us as a purpose-driven brand. You know, they actually donated $5,000 to the Ertz Family Foundation to help align with our purpose. So it really is a symbiotic relationship. I don't know if that went over your head there, but that's what it is.
It went over mine.
I think it's symbiotic.
Oh, will you not be
symbiotic, dude? What are you talking about?
If I'm being an asshole, I've always pronounced it symbiotic.
Well, you're wrong, and it's $10.
Yeah,
Absolutely wrong.
$20 Super Bowl week.
It was a wonderful word, Zach.
Thank you.
Zach, can you tell us the lengths? I don't think people understand the lengths that you have to go to keep your body right, to be a professional athlete playing that insane sport with the way that stuff hurts. Can you give the audience an example of, you people have no idea how hard all of this is and how much training goes into making my body something that is sculpted and requires 9 hours of rest, because otherwise what I'm doing for a living breaks it.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is spot on. This thing for me isn't something that's August to January. It's not something that you can just show up in August and be ready to go. It's a 12-month job for us, just like anyone else's job. And we have to put in the work each and every day. And whether we're training for 5 hours in the day or whether we're recovering, it takes the same dedication to both. And people want to see you on the field, but you also have to recover. And so for us, I mean, it sounds, it is a first world problem, obviously, but you have to recover. You have to be able to take your time. You got to eat well. You can't be putting junk in your body. And it's during the week. Monday, I know exactly what I'm doing. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just to be able to put my best self on the field for Sundays. And so that's all. I feel like as an athlete, if you want to maximize your career, you want to maximize your life after you're playing, you have to really invest in your body, because if you're not able to do that, it's going to break down on you, or you're going to have long-term effects. And so for me and my wife, we want to put everything we have into this short career so that when we look back, it can be like, hey, I have no regrets. I did everything I possibly could. And so for me, that's kind of the mindset that I have.
Outside of Sundays or Mondays and Thursdays, game days, outside of game days, what percentage of football is truly shitty?
Well, I mean, I think for me, everyone's mindset is different, obviously. For me, I actually still enjoy the process. I was talking to a former teammate of mine that just retired, and he was a year or two older than me, came into the league a year or two ahead of me, and he's like, yeah, this is going to be it for me. This is going to be it for me this last year. And he said, how many more years do you want to play? And I said, the moment I stop loving the process, the moment I stop loving to practice and working on my craft is when I'm going to be done. And so for me, I still love the job. I still love going to work on a Wednesday and practicing. I still like training camp. I know it's backwards around here for a lot of people, but I love practicing. I love saying sports is such a great opportunity because you're never going to be perfect as a player. There's always going to be something you can work on. I'm going into my 10th year next year, and there's still stuff I feel like I can be better than I was this year at. And so for me, that's what I still love. I still love the process of improving and improvement. And so for me, nothing is really that terrible.
Zach, I'm wondering, did Kingsbury ever invite you to his pad? And if so, what was the coolest thing in the house?
I never saw his pad. I got traded on a Friday after a Thursday night game, and I was so involved. Like, there was game weeks all the time. So who knows? I'm a free agent, but hopefully I'm back in Arizona. And if I'm back in Arizona, he better have me over for a nice meal.
Who are the tight ends, past and present, that you're awed by?
That's a great question. I think for me, there's so many people that have influenced my game, and I feel like if you watch my game, you can find hopefully pieces of former players like Jason Witten. I loved watching Antonio Gates and just how he was able to use his body and get in and out of breaks. Obviously, Tony Gonzalez is one of the best. It's probably the best to ever do it at the position, and so I actually had lunch with him one time, and he just kind of shaped my mentality for off the field. And so that was a great conversation. Currently, I love Travis. Me and Trav are the same draft class. He's a year older than me, but we're the same class. And so just being able to see his game grow, and I feel like we just continually push each other to be better. Obviously, George Kittle is just what he's able to do with the ball in his hands is awesome. It's just fun to watch. But there's so many guys I just like watching film of. Darren Waller is a guy that's really just, I feel like, pushing the boundaries. Is he a tight end? Is he a receiver? Kyle Pitts, the young kid, going to be a super talented player for a long time. Obviously, already is. And so I'm not a guy that's like I'm the guy. No one else has impacted me. I just enjoy the game. So I love all the other former tight ends and current tight ends.
A lot of guys in there. Is there anyone that didn't make the cut?
No, Gronk. I didn't hear Gronk.
Gronk.
No, aggregate him. Gronk, not one of the guys I'm awed by.
Gronk is a freak of nature. Him and Jimmy Graham that one year, I think it was 2010 when they were going back and forth. I think they both broke the record for receiving yards. Gronk had 17 touchdowns that year, 18 touchdowns that year. And so he's just been doing it for so long. Him and Tom were really just so in tune. And I feel like as a tight end, when you're able to just see their relationship, you're never going to find that Tom Brady quarterback again, but you want to be able to say, hey, this is a QB tight end relationship that could maybe be mentioned in that same breath, even though it's never going to happen.
You mentioned your wife, Julie. She is a medaling Olympian. How competitive are you two with each other? Like, do board game pieces get thrown at each other? Two professional athletes, it can be tricky turning off the competitive.
I mean, we are competitive. I'm not going to sit here and say we're not. We used to play like gin rummy back in the day when we were younger, and we used to keep a journal to hold each other accountable on the score sheet because one of us, I won't name who, was a little exaggerating on how many games they would win that day. And so I'm not going to say who it was.
It was good that you protect your sources. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then we just got back from vacation, and there was a ping pong table at the hotel. And so each and every day at the end of the day, we would go over there and play a game or two of ping pong, and just it got very heated, competitive. And so it's fun to be able to do things that you love with your significant
No,
other.
Zach, but give us very heated. What does that look like? Are you giant, you strong? Are you just slamming balls, trying to hit her in the forehead, bouncing it? Like, are you just making her angry by just throwing the full force of your weight behind some easy slam that hits her in the forehead?
Ping pong really is a lose-lose situation for me because if I win, it's like she's going to be so mad that I won. If I lose, I'm going to be so mad that I lost. But we were actually very cordial this trip, so I was proud of us.
You said it was heated. Which is
the maturity we showed.
Is it? You said it was heated, and I don't believe you when you say it was mature. I think a lot of athletes can't turn this off.
Yeah, I would agree.
Zach, I once produced a video at Sports Illustrated with Julie where we taste tested French and American cheese ahead of the World Cup. I'm wondering if she came home from the shoot that day and talked about how fun it was and like what a
to spend time with you.
I love you,
to spend
Smitty.
time with you.
It's a great question.
Does she remember me?
Did she mention Jess?
Yeah, it's a great question, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even need an introduction to you, Jess. I mean, I feel like I already knew who you were based on that day. It was really put into my brain based on her response. But no, she had a great time that day. I think I do remember that.
No, you don't.
You don't remember that at all.
You're a liar.
Come on, Zach. It's all right, Zach.
He's so honest. His name's Honest Zach.
Thank you.
Zach, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it. Oh, wait a minute. Really?
Oh, wow.
Okay. Is Tom Haberstroh here somewhere? I thought I saw him leaving town this morning.
According to DraftKings, the Los Angeles Rams are currently the favorite to win the Super Bowl by 4 points. True or false? Of the last 20 Super Bowls, the favorite has covered the spread just 6 times.
Zach?
Are you asking me? Sorry, I mean, there's so many people on here.
True or false?
I would say true or false, 6 times teams have covered. I'd say false. I'd say there's more teams that have done that. 20 Super Bowls.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach.
I mean, what do we do in Super Bowl 52?
We've got one question left for you, the final question of
Most
Super
important.
Bowl week. And I don't think you realize how much pressure's on this question because there's a lot on it. Let's see if we can go another week and ask this question and get a great answer.
What's the single biggest thing the Bengals have to do to beat the Rams?
What is the single biggest thing? They have to get a lead.
Yeah.
They have to get a lead early. You can't get down against this defensive line. That's a great question. I love the delivery.
Okay, finally, but let's wait a minute. You noticed it.
Somebody noticed.
You noticed the delivery and ignored it. You did notice it though. You were wait a minute because we've played him asking that question for years. No one notices that he's dying during it.
Yeah, I don't know what went on, but I just felt like I was trying to be a professional. And now that my saying that the Rams or the Bengals need to get a lead, I can acknowledge what just went on.
Okay. Thank you, Zach. A new tradition.
We'll talk to you next year.
We'll talk to you next year at the end of Super Bowl.
Unless you're in it, of course.
No, even if you're in it. Especially if you're in it. Commit
You know how to play sax?
Commit to it right now, Zach Ertz, that if you're in the Super Bowl next year and if you end up on our show, it'll end Super Bowl week that Friday.
Perfect. Great plan.
There it is.
As long as you get the cap and the leather jacket.
Okay. Thank you.
A new Super Bowl tradition here.
Appreciate it, Zach. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, guys.
So this is the end of our live experience this week, guys, and you have successfully made it an entire week without giving us your thoughts on the game.
Good job, boys.
Yeah, I don't.
You want to talk? You want to preview the big game?
My thoughts are my father's thoughts. Stolen. Shitty Super Bowl.
So you're not going to watch?
I will have to watch as part of the work.
What's your favorite
we
storyline?
do.
You don't have to
That's
watch.
part of the work we do.
That's the only reason that you're watching.
I mean, I'm not
you're
sure
going
I would
into
watch
Super
it
Bowl
otherwise.
Sunday like, sorry, honey, I
Yeah,
gotta
don't really care. I got to be honest.
He's swiping a time card. Yeah.
I mean, if the Bengals and Rams were on a Sunday at 1 p.m, you might not watch the game.
And Jim
You might
Carrey is reviving the cable guy for one of the commercials. This is exciting. How many crypto commercials are we going to see?
100.
Over, under 5.
Over.
Love that sound.
What was that vet the bet game?
It was Tom thinking, man.
What?
Well, tell him to stop thinking.
I love trivia.
I
It's
like
content.
trivia.
Content.
I like that Tom's gears are always churning.
I'm gonna push back on you. You didn't sell it like Tom does. Tom tells us it's the game show that's sweeping the nation, and he says vet and we all say vet the bet at the same time. I thought Mike was gonna do that. Instead, he just jumped right in.
I honestly had to dig into a couch that I didn't think had creases to find the bet the bet cards.
Not the couch.
Find my money in there?
Let's go through some more of them. And incidentally,
That was the last one we hadn't read, and I'm not even sure about that. But yeah, no, there was a Cooper Kupp one, the Matthew Stafford MVP one, the heads or tails one, the Gatorade one, which I hated because that's water. That's not Gatorade. Come on. The home team Super Bowl thing, and then this card that just has V. I'm like, I'm on to something. I found this one first. I'm like, is there another card that says E? But no.
The V is for Vermeil.
Yeah. Hall of Famer.
I want all of your Hall of Fame takes. I want to just end Super Bowl week by just all of us walking out of the room as
Lights
you
off.
just continually, as the lights go off. I just want this Hall of Fame class. I want for you to just give us everything you've got. I blew it because when we stopped talking about Chappelle, I should have allowed you to just talk about all of your thoughts about all of the Hall of Fame people. So let's just end this week with Stugotz in his glory. You could catch God Bless Football, not just today. You could catch it tomorrow as well because Stugotz has been in his glory. He has enjoyed the holy hell out of talking to everybody who was on Radio Row. So close us out here, Stugotz. The final appearance, and we will get better at all this stuff live. Our video department is going to start growing now. We've got a lot of growth planned for you in the next year. But close us out on Super Bowl week, not with Zach Ertz, but with you just giving us all your thoughts on the Hall of Fame class.
All right, Tony Baselli finally gets in. Finally gets into Canton. Tony Baselli was on an all-decade team. Tony Baselli gave up 15 and a half sacks for his entire career. Tony Baselli had to wait 16 years to get into the Hall of Fame. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Fame, but he is in, and we congratulate my friend Tony Baselli. Now, when I do afternoon drive in Orlando to finish off my career, I'll be doing it with a Hall of Famer. How about that? Cliff Branch, the Raiders, that great team with Tom Flores and Kenny Stabler, the Snake, and Kenny King and Marcus Allen, all those great players, John Matuzak, Lyle Alzado. Cliff Branch waited 16 years to get into the Hall of Fame. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Fame. Leroy Butler, interesting. Safety with the Packers, Brett Favre, that entire team. I'm not certain how I feel about safeties in general. I'm not sure what they do, to be honest with you, but he was a guy who brought it every single Sunday, a big hitter, and Leroy Butler probably deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. But again, I think safeties are kind of interchangeable. I don't know how important they are to the entire equation, unless you're Ronnie Lott. He, of course, is the greatest safety of all time. But Leroy Butler gets into the Hall of Fame. I guess I'm okay with that. It's kind of debatable. I feel like Shannon Sharp probably should get in. Art McNally, a contributor. Have no idea who he is. What are we contributing? Sam Mills. Here's the deal. 20 years. If you are on the ballot for 20 years, there's a couple of things with Millsy here, okay? Number one is 20 years. If they didn't think you were a Hall of Famer for 20 years, then you're not a Hall of Famer today. I am sorry, Sam. You did nothing to me, okay? I'm certain you're a nice guy. You were a good player, just not a great player. The other thing with Sam Mills is Pat Swilling on his own team, number 56, much better. Ricky Jackson on his own team, number 57, was a much better player. But Sam Mills gets in. But again, my thought is if you have to wait 20 years, if you weren't a Hall of Famer the first 19 years, how could you possibly be a Hall of Famer in your 20th year? Richard Seymour, defensive lineman for the Patriots. He gets in. I have no idea.